We get to announce what we're doing next after this episode. Oh yeah, the thing we knew since the middle of this year.
It's so weird that we have so much content pre-planned. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Hello, I have Christmas facts, as we are now closer to the Christmas of this recording. It is the closest Christmas recording we've had this year. Which I guess makes sense because we're doing these in order. We've got astronauts broadcast jingle bells from space. Many of us have done that prank that went too far. I don't understand what that first sentence means. 9 days before Christmas... Oh, I guess if I read the rest of the paragraph, it would
make sense.
Yeah. 9 days before Christmas in 1965, two astronauts aboard Gemini 6 told Mission Control they saw an unidentified flying object about to enter Earth's atmosphere. I heard about this story. Traveling from the polar orbit from the north to the south. Just as things got tense, they were interrupted the broadcast with jingle bells as Wally Chiara played a small harmonica accompanied by Tom Stafford shaking a handful of small sleigh bells. I heard this story before.
Okay, I feel like you might have said this fact already, but hey, I'll leave it up to the listeners. If we already said that fact, we haven't recorded in like a week and a half because weekends were busy and I was sick. I'm sure you can still hear it in my voice. So yell at us in any way you can reach out to us.
Here, just in case, I have the 15th one, and then I'll scroll down because there's more than 20 facts on here, which I would never be able to roll. So, Silent Night is the most recorded song. We all know that the same handful of Christmas songs play at stores on the radio on loop all season long, but one of them has been adapted more than the others. Silent Night earns the title as the most recorded Christmas song in history. It has more than 733 different versions copyrighted since 1978.
Ooh. I really don't like Silent Night as a Christmas song, though, personally.
It's not, I don't know. I heard them, like, too many times. Here we go. Okay, I'm not reading that one. Why is there so many mistletoe ones about people being horny? Anyway, I'm going to read this one because this fits into everything. Americans spend nearly $1,000 on gifts. According to the National Retail Federation, the most recent data, consumers spend an average of $967.13 on the holidays. Although individual spending can range widely, many shoppers will really go all out. But just as many cherish homemade thrifted, or gifts that are generally more meaningful than flashy. Oh, okay.
Speaking of which, if you see any weird arm movements from me, I'm in the process of crocheting stuff for a Christmas blanket. But I need, I did not calculate this before I started doing this. I think at minimum for a decent lap blanket, I'll need 289. And I think I have 180. And Christmas is not that far away.
There's still time. Yeah, it's...
Well, if you're listening to this, Christmas already happened, but
it's the day after Christmas.
Yes.
So it's a little post-Christmas gift from us to you, nerds. But yeah, it's one of those like that last one like hits home because I'm like, my brother, who's in the military, because I'm trying to find out what he wants for Christmas, and I asked him like, hey, what restaurants are near your base, so that way I can get you a gift card and maybe you can take your friends out one of these days. And like, well, that would be nice, but the awkward thing is after Christmas I'm getting shipped to a different base. And I'm like, oh well, there goes that idea. And so I think I'm just gonna look up restaurants in that area and just be like, here, gift card, have fun.
Or you could try and find something a little bit more of like a chain type thing. So even if he's at a different base, maybe he'll have something in proximity that's still...
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know which base he's going to. So maybe I'll just have to text him and be like, hey, what base? And then
or you could, unfortunately, the more boring thing is just send a little bit of cash.
Yeah, but he was like, "Don't give me a gift because I don't have a lot of money and I can't get you guys." It's like he said this last year. And he's like, "I don't want to get you guys anything because I don't have a lot of money, and so like I don't want to receive something when I can't give something back." And I'm like, in my head, I was like, "No, sucker."
Yeah.
Like, I like getting gifts for you because you're my brothers. And really, I don't know. It doesn't really have to be family. It's just been like as I spent $150.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I don't know. I don't know if I bought part of Hop's gift last weekend or if this was something he asked for.
Oh, he asked for it specifically.
Okay. Yeah, it's like that's what I figured, but I wasn't sure. It was just like she's like, if you were gonna be like, "Yep, here's part of your gift. Don't ask me how I did it, boy."
No, because I said that my brother was like, "Are you going?" I was like, "I'm not, but I have a friend that's going." He's like, "Can you ask your friend to?" Because I did look it up online, and the price that you paid for what you got from Unplugged is the same price I saw online, but online it said it was sold out.
Yeah, no, there was like, oh well, it was also the first day, so like, as well as we're packed. Yeah, no, I have a collection of stuff down there. My favorite thing, okay, quick favorite thing about PAX Unplugged, which now is almost a month later after this episode. It's I picked up this game, this indie game. I told you about it in Discord. A town called Malice, and it seems it looks pretty fun. But then I realized, like, as they were like, yeah, it's based off of Nordic horror, and I'm like, what the heck is Nordic horror? So I was reading it on the way home because my phone was acting up, and then I was sat there and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's how I inadvertently do all my stories. Where like there's just a general setting of dread with, well, the thing that isn't mixed in is a little bit of comedy, but it's just like no one's safe, everything can die, everything is terrible. So yeah, but it is what it is. And I'm the one bringing the time crunch today.
A change of pace.
Yeah. So
then I guess with our little intros out of the way, then are you ready to roll some dice to see which one of us gets to describe Die Hard? And
yeah,
after
I had a third die.
Oh, there it is. And then after we chat about it, then we'll do our rank it up against our Christmas tiers.
Here's one of the other things I bought. This is from the game I kickstarted, and it just cracks me up. I don't like pins. Well, I don't collect pins, but I saw this and I was like, yeah, this is fun.
That's cute.
So, all right. So I rolled my die. Of course, a middling roll.
Mine is also pretty middling. So we can see who's the least middling. I got a 13.
You won by 1. I rolled a 12.
Oh, look at that. That was a close one this week.
Look, all you needed to do was just get sick, and then the dice were like, Hop, you can share
You
everything.
can use up whatever remnants of a voice you have in this. Okay.
We get to announce what we're doing next after this episode. Oh, yeah, the thing we knew since the middle of this year.
It's so weird that we have so much content pre-planned.
Why is this the most well-planned thing out of everything I do? And it's like, it doesn't, like, well, that's not too bad. It's like, no, I run 3 D&D games. All of them homebrewed, and then I'm planning multiple other things. It sounds a lot worse when you look at it the context of everything else I'm working on.
But yes, so let me know when you start the half-hour timer. Usual spoiler warnings for anyone that hasn't seen Die Hard, and I know that might sound like a joke, but the first time I've seen Die Hard was a year ago, and this was your first watch too,
yep,
right?
This is my first watch. I did see a lot of stuff.
A lot of memes.
Yeah, well, I think this is the first time I watched it in totality. I think I watched bits and pieces of it before.
Okay.
But yeah, I just realized, let's mute my phone. Because, well, the fun thing is in about 30 minutes my laundry will be done.
Exciting.
So
you'll be the guy whose stuff is still in the washer.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I want to just, after, like, that goes off, to run down and just see if I need to turn it on for, like, another 10 minutes, because there wasn't a lot of washers open. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay.
So I am starting the timer now.
Okay. So please forgive me if I miss anything. Feel free to fill in Dpayne, because, like I said, I had watched this, I think, 2 weeks ago. I rewatched it 2 weeks ago. I did watch it last year, but I rewatched it 2 weeks ago. So essentially we have the whole opening where you are introduced to John McClane on an airplane. I didn't intend to rhyme, but here we are. And
McClane on a plane.
It feels like this intro bit is just an excuse to have him run around barefoot, because he's acting nervous on the flight, and the guy next to him's like, you know what makes me feel better? Wherever you land, take off your shoes and, like, really scrunch your feet in the rug for your hotel or whatever. And he's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then shows off that he has a gun. And the guy's like, why do you have a gun on a plane? He's like, I do this all the time. I'm pretty sure the only people that are actually allowed to have guns in planes are air marshals and not general cops, but
I'll look it up.
Who do I know? But yes.
Cops in the 80s. Sorry, go ahead.
Cops in the 80s. Let's see, where did I leave off? So then he ends up in the limo, and in a limo he's being escorted to the place of work of his wife. And I think we also get some scenes of the office Christmas party where they show off kind of like her status in the company and hinting about how everyone's hitting on her. And she's like, no, I mean, like, yeah, me and my husband are kind of separated, but, like, no, we're just living apart or whatever. And they have the whole, like, phone calls of, like, oh, hey, like, I'm on my way, blah, 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 blah. Like, you can tell they're still into each other, but neither of them wants to admit that they're still into each other. But you learn that her company is placed within a building under construction, the Nakatomi Plaza, which is like a big thing.
The biggest thing.
The biggest thing in the city, apparently. Where are they again? Is it San Francisco?
I think so.
Yeah. So then you go in and you see awkward tension between John McClane and his wife Holly, because he finds out she's using her maiden name when he's looking her up in directories, and they're setting up for a big Christmas party. And the limo driver for John McClane's like, I'm just gonna hang out in the garage in case things go south with your wife, so if you need me, you can find me. And then while all of that is happening, then you get shots of sneaky, like, vans and cars and stuff tricking the front security gate, and then everything gets locked down in the building as these guys show up. That's how I'm going to summarize them, these guys, because you're not introduced to who they are just yet. And then
real quick, I found it. Law enforcement officers can fly with loaded guns, but they have to have completed an appropriate flying while armed training program, and they have to be specifically authorized by their employers. So, and they need a justifiable reason why they need their weapon, like, on a thing. If they're uniformed, they can keep their firearms on their person, but not uniform. Yeah. I
don't think John McClane had a reasonable reason to have a gun on a plane.
No,
because
he didn't.
His trip, the description would be visiting my wife.
Yes. No, like, he didn't have. I don't know. I can't find anything, like, from, like, the 80s.
But that's the most recent rulings you see.
That's the only one that explained it without me having to read a 30-page article for a one-sentence answer.
Okay, that's fair. So then these guys come in, they start locking everything down, they start taking everybody hostage, and they are requesting to talk to, what was his name, Joe? Nakatomi?
Takagi?
Oh, Takagi, yes. Sorry, I assumed his namesake was the company.
I brought up the IMDb, so okay. That way I know their names.
Yeah, so they start demanding for that guy, and they start doing the whole, like, I know who you are, you graduated from this school, blah, blah, blah. and then they were just walking up to every Japanese man going, "Is it you?" And I was like, this is a little weird, but I mean, like, I get it.
It's like Gruber knew who it, like, I believe he knew who he was, but he was like, I want you to come out.
Yeah, but
It's
probably
still
through intimidation and all that.
Yeah.
Then all the while, John McClane is like, oh god, there's people with guns. I gotta start going into, like, super mode, and is doing a bunch of, like, covert cop things.
Yeah. It's so funny because he's just like okay, like, thank goodness there was, like, a couple just getting it on in the next office. Talk about everyone being horny. But
I know everyone in that office is like, let's go to the employee bathroom.
Yeah. It's like, what?
Because they were gonna go into Holly's bathroom or whatever when they were in there.
They're just like, awkward tension. And then it's just like, okay,
so then
that was just there so you could show boobies.
Yeah, but then, like, the rest of the movie, well, I guess, yeah, then there's a whole bunch of action that happens. I don't remember the sequence of who dies in what order. I think the first guy that dies is, like, the one blonde guy with glasses, because it becomes an important plot point in terms of that's the brother of one of the other guys, so that makes the whole
Takagi's the
plot.
first one that technically dies.
Well, I thought Bruce Willis takes care of that guy before the negotiations. I guess it
might happen at the same time,
like, back and forth.
Yeah, because McClane at this point, he's like
in the vents. He's very much like,
well, he's not in the vents. He's like, at that point, like, he sees everyone shooting and everything, and then I believe they take Takagi upstairs, and then he's on, like, a part of the building that they're doing construction on, and he's trying to, like, get a hold of the police and stuff, and, like, he's trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, that's why I thought the blind guy with glasses dies first, because that happens in the not completed construction area.
Yeah.
And then eventually John McClane finds his way into the meeting room to listen to why they want Takagi.
Yeah. But there's, like, a reason why they go... I'm trying to remember, because there's a reason they go up there. Like, I don't know if he...
I thought it was because they were like, oh, we hear the alarm went off on a floor that nobody's occupying. Like, the fire alarm was called from a floor.
Because he's making a phone call. He's calling the...
because he needs to steal the radio from the guy.
He makes a phone call from one of the offices, I think it is. Or he finds the phone, makes the phone call to the police, I think it is. No, it's not the police. I think he calls the limo driver, because then it cuts off.
Oh, yes, he's on the phone in the Holly's bathroom with the limo driver, and then, the two guys cut all the communications off in the building, and the power, I think, or something.
Not the power. I don't think they kill the power.
Oh, yeah, because they still need the elevators.
Yeah, and then he runs. That's when he goes up there, and then he trips something.
The fire alarm to try and get the police to come.
And that's when they shut that off, and then...
and then the blonde guy is like...
Yeah, blonde guy comes up. I think it's because then he kills him, and then he sees them kill Takagi. Yeah. Because he's hiding under the table.
Mm-hmm. That's why... Okay. There's just a lot of action. It's an action movie.
Yeah. It was an attention to detail that really wasn't important.
But yeah, so then... Oh yeah, and he's barefoot this whole time, because remember I said it's oddly... It's like a preface to him being barefoot, which does matter kind of later. But yeah, so then you find out that they want Takagi because apparently he knows a part of a password that unlocks, like, a 7 defense safe that has a whole bunch of bonds in it, and to the point where it's one of those, like, if they sell so many bonds over the years and they can have the easy life and yada blah. Mm-hmm. But then anytime the police get into communication with them, they lie and say that, we want you... well, I'm kind of jumping ahead. But yeah, so...
Don't worry, you will not jump as far ahead as I did in the last episode.
Yes, you went... It's interesting because of the ending. I was like, wow, DP.
Look, you said you weren't feeling good, so I was like, let's just skip to the good part.
So Takagi does end up dying, and McClane witnesses it, and McClane ends up trying to, like, do a bunch of stuff. ends up fighting a bunch of guys along the way. Again, like I said, I don't remember the exact order of events.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I remember. Like, it really isn't important. Like, it's him just kind of running up and down, like,
the same,
gaining
like,
information.
3 floors.
I think the only thing that's probably important is, like, after he sees Takagi die, he goes back and then kind of starts everything by sending the first guy he killed down as he's hiding on top of it and writes everyone's names down on his wrist.
Yeah, because what he ultimately does is he took the radio from the blonde guy, calls on a secret cop communications, like, emergency signal broadcast, and the cops are like, this is only for emergencies. He's like, why do you think I know about this? I am also a cop, and this is an emergency. So they send the one guy from Family Matters.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. His actor's name is Reginald Vell Johnson, Sergeant Powell. Which I looked up because that's what I was looking at right now. I was like, what was he in Family Matters? He was a cop in Family Matters for Chicago.
He's Winslow, right?
Yeah, he was a police officer of the Chicago Police Department. I'm like, oh man, how great would it be if that show took place in
the same universe?
Well, like in Los Angeles, or not Los Angeles, wherever Die Hard takes place, L.A. or something. Oh yeah, L.A. No, yeah, I'm looking. It's in Los Angeles.
Oh, it's in LA. Okay, I thought it was in San Francisco. My bad. Earlier.
It's all good.
Yes, through the secret radio comms, they go, all right, can someone do a drive-by of the plaza? Because apparently there's bad stuff happening. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll go check it out. And he goes and drives by and then, throws one of the bodies out of the window and it lands on the cop car. And he's making fun of the guy. He's like, who's the guy driving? Like, does he even know what he's doing? Mm-hmm. Does get the attention of everybody. So they end up on communications on, like, radio back and forth, and they end up becoming, like, BFFs during all of this.
Yeah. I think that's, like, one of my favorite parts throughout the whole movie.
Then they, so it's McClane, like, slowly taking out each person and slowly, like, collecting all the things that were part of Hans Gruber's original plan. And then all the while, the media and the FBI get involved. And it's very much a movie about, like, FBI and higher-ups do it all wrong. Why are you sending in SWAT? They know what they're doing. And then John McClane, the lone cop, is like, I'm smarter than everybody above me, and I'm going to fix it. And Powell's also smarter than all the higher-ups. He's going to fix it. Mm-hmm. And all the while, Holly is trying to manage the captive situation where he's like, Hans Gruber's like, who made you in charge? She's like, well, you killed my boss, so now I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And then the stupid guy high on cocaine who has a crush on Holly is like, I know what's best for everybody. I know who the guy is.
I was like, yes, please. Like, this was the one. And then I like how that whole scene where McClane's just like, what are you doing?
You don't know what you've gotten into.
You don't know. I was like, I don't know you.
He's lying.
Tell him.
He's lying.
And, like, it was just like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, Pal can also hear what's going on because, like, it's a shared network.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, and then, yeah, it was pretty interesting where they're just, like, how, whatever his name is, the guy who was, like, the lieutenant was just like, dude, he's got to give himself up. And then it's just, from that one point, it's like, okay. And he's like, this guy's an idiot, don't listen to him anymore. And there's a little bit of insight I would like to share once we go through the whole movie about it.
So ultimately, like I said, like, lots of action, lots of fun parts, lots of funny moments, lots of fun one-liners. Strider was, like, kind of half watching, and I was like, look, one of your favorite lines. It's the welcome to the party, pal. And then the yippee-ki-yay. I was like, you missed your other favorite line.
Yeah. One of the guys that I work with knows a lot of the lines, which will make sense in a little bit once I share the insight part. But it's I was talking about it, he's like, yeah, welcome to the party, and I'm just like, he said it in almost the same voice, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
But yeah, the reason I say the feet's important because there's even fights where there's a lot of broken glass and it causes McClane to, like, leave a trail, and he has to, like, take a break because he's bandaging his feet because he's been running around barefoot amongst all of this. I don't think there's anything. The major things to note that you learn throughout all the action scenes is Hans Gruber is actually just a thief. He tries to purport himself as like a terrorist who's like trying to bring down the company for the better of the world. He lies in negotiations and says like to free people that are in like prisoners of war, or not prisoners of war, or in the like Guantanamo Bay, I think, something like that.
Well,
and
it was to free people like all around the world, and
yeah,
it's
and then
just to waste time.
Yeah, and then his henchmen were like, "Who are they?" He's like, "Oh, I looked them up in a magazine. Like, I don't know who they are." And then ultimately they have like the one hacker guy who's like, you know, decoding and like using a drill to try and get through the safe. And when they open it, it literally is just bonds. It's like literal bonds. Yeah. And then they plan on.
That's a funny scene, though.
Yeah, all the paper. And then Hans has a plan to double cross everybody, where he tells the FBI like, "I'll give you the hostages on the roof, but you have to bring a helicopter to pick them up." And is it the FBI? Yeah, it's like the FBI. They're like,
the FBI shows up.
Yeah, we're gonna double cross and like shoot them on the rooftop. And John McClane's like, "They're explosives. Everybody get off the rooftop. Nobody be here." And it turns into a whole sequence of events, and eventually leads up to the whole final 1v1 of Hans and McClane, and him trying to use Holly as like a hostage. And then McClane pushes him out a window, and he's holding on to Holly by the watch. And they go, "Oh no, the expensive watch we brought up in the beginning of the movie. We have to unclip it." And then it's the longest falling sequence you've ever seen.
Yeah, which a falling sequence that they based a whole advent calendar off of.
Is there anything else really major that I missed? I guess the limo driver was also helpful. Yeah. He kept the hacker from escaping with the bonds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, not the hacker, whatever his name was, the limo driver, he was there for comic relief, but then also, like, okay, now we have someone to show this other perspective that wouldn't really make sense. Like, not that like we need to make sense in a move the way this movie was shot, but it's just like, okay, the limo driver's there and stuff. And then
he's like on the phone with his girlfriend, not realizing everything that was happening, and then he hears on the radio, "Oh, the plaza's under a terrorist attack," and he's like, "I'm in the plaza."
Yeah. I think the only other story beat that's interesting, that's good to talk about, is pals kind of thing, because when McClane has glass in his foot, and like he's kind of like, the stress is like hitting him, he's like, "Dude, there's nothing else I can do." Because I think there's also they do
the whole like humanizing moment, like, do you have kids, do you have a family, and they really bond.
Yeah. And then they ask like, "Hey, what, like, why are you," it's like, I can tell by the way you talk and just did stuff, like, you weren't always behind a desk. And he's like, and talks about the accident of like how like he accidentally shot a kid because of like, it was just dark and everything. Like, I don't remember the exact excuse.
It was dark. Unfortunately,
and, like,
it's a story that I hear, you know, has been a lot of controversy in the news in recency, but it's because usually it's race is involved, whereas Powell himself is a black officer, so I assume I can't assume for the 80s, but I feel like I would have expected in the 80s for him not to have gotten desk work as a black cop for shooting someone incorrectly. But anyway, that's just me and my modern sensibilities.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, us watching it now, like just because the movie is pro cop, which
it is very pro cop. But
which like, it's funny, if this movie was made now, McClane would not be a government agent. Like, he would probably be like retired military, or just like some dude that was like
a civilian that's just really good. Like Taken, he was an what was it, like CIA agent or something like that.
Yeah, like that's kind of like, he wouldn't have been a cop. That's for sure. And like, because it's like this whole movie, which in the 80s I think there's a bunch of movies like that, where it's just like,
I mean, like Predator 2.
Yeah, and it's like, well, Lethal Weapon is also another one where it's just like, cops were like, And then it's like, I don't know, I'm not gonna hate the movie because it's pro cop, but it's very,
It was a trend of the time.
Yeah.
But I do, out of all the between various like pro cop action movies I've seen, I do like Die Hard. Die Hard is a fun watch, and it's not shoving it down your throat. It's just they are shed in a completely positive light, whereas the FBI, the lieutenant, or the higher ups, like the Powell's boss comes off as like a real a-hole and thinks he knows what he's doing, and he doesn't know what he's doing. The FBI is portrayed in a way that's like they don't know what they're doing. But yes, going back to their conversation, they talk about family. Powell is like, if the only thing I can do is to encourage you to let you know not to give up, because everyone's like, tell him to just turn himself in. And he's like, no, he's tired. He has family. He's done so much for all of this. You guys need to believe in him. And they're like, how do you know he is a cop? He's like, I just know in my heart he's a good cop.
Yeah. And it's like the way he's talking, the way he's explaining things, it's like it's a cop. And so, and then like, but the whole thing is like, I was never able to shoot a gun or hold a gun again.
Yeah, because he said it was dark and the kid had a ray gun toy, so he mistook it for a gun. Yeah,
and so, and then like at the end of the movie where like, and we have that thing where I think it's one of the dudes survives, not Gruber, but one of the guys survives and comes out, and then that's
is it the other blonde guy whose whole revenge plot is to just kill? Yeah, I think they arrest the other blonde guy who was brothers with the glasses guy, because the whole movie, that guy.
I thought he was the one that McClane pretty much nooses with the chain at the end. I thought that was him.
Oh, I thought it was still him at the end, because he has a whole strong revenge plot. Because his whole thing is, I don't care what happens to me, I just need to kill McClane to get revenge for my brother. Yeah. And that's the only one I can reasonably think in my head, where if he's getting escorted out by cops, would, in front of other cops, go out of his way to try and still kill McClane.
Yeah. I don't know.
I do remember what you're talking about, but like,
a lot of these characters look the same.
That's fair.
Anyway, and then Powell shoots him, and then it's just like, yep, there we go. But so I don't know, I think that was like really the only other story thing to mention. And so I was saying, though, I have a little bit of insight about this because one of the guys I work with is a retired Philadelphia detective. And like, he used to do like cop work and stuff, and like I was talking to him about it, and because no surprise, he loves this movie.
Yeah.
And
because he can find pieces of him like within the characters.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, what was funny was, I'm like, dude, the way McClane talks, because McClane is from Philadelphia, I believe. I think they say that he's
New York City cop.
I don't know.
Because he makes the joke, if I wanted to be in a shithole, I'd go to Philly or Jersey or something like that.
I thought... I'll look this up. Because, like, I thought... I don't know. I thought it... Because I thought it said he was from a New York cop. Okay, New York Police Department. Was he from Philly? I don't know.
There's just one joke where he says, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
He makes fun of Philly.
And, yeah. Oh, he was born in New Jersey. But anyway, doesn't matter. And so... But anyway, he's a New York cop and all that stuff. But I was like... I was asking him, I was like... Dude, like, there was a lot of things that, like, watching Bruce Willis play John McClane... that I see you do, like writing on his arm with the marker, like important information. And I was like, is that just something that all cops did? And he's like, well, yeah, like if rather than pull out a pen and paper and searching out, well, they're trying to give you like a number or something over like a license plate number, you just write it on your arm, and that way while you're driving, you only look it there, so you don't have to keep going back. And I'm just like, okay. And so, not that was like the biggest thing, it was just like the way like McClane talked and everything was interesting, because it was very same tone as he talks, and like even like the way McClane would like tell stories and just like would make fun of people was very much the same as he does, as the guy I work with. And so, But then I was asking him, like, well, how about the other stuff, like with like the higher ups? And he's like, oh yeah, no, it's like you, depending on who you have come into a case, like it could very much be like that, where it's just that the higher up that comes in, that's just ruins everything. And it's like if you're not a certain level, it's like you have to go along with it.
Yeah,
like
I know, like, a lot of cop dramas, they emphasize, like, this is my jurisdiction now. You have to stop. I'm in charge now. It's like, but it's like, nope, I'm the boss now.
And that, but like he was telling me that it was like because he was a detective, he was like a level above that, and so people would try to do that to him, and he's like, well, I'm the sergeant in this area, and he was like, well, he's like, fine, like you do what you need to do, and he's like, come on, guy, like even though we were there first doing our work, like we're leaving because, and well, he uses a little bit more descriptive language, but he was like, yeah, this guy wants to take over, so. And, like, the guy's like, well, don't be like that. It's like, dude, no, I'm here to do my job. You go do that. And so there is that, like, inner tension between different things. And then he's like, yeah, the same thing when you have federal agents come in. It's almost the same kind of, like, vibe. Because it's like they can just ruin or just do things, like, completely different. And it's, like, not great. So I don't know. It was a little while since we talked, but it was just he was sharing a little bit of insight about different things of
like the attitudes.
The attitudes and just like the higher ups. And just like, okay, so this was there was work done about this.
Yeah. So I found the quote he says about Philadelphia. Powell is like, "Are you still with us?" And while McClane's pulling glass out of his foot, he says, "But all things equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia right now."
Yeah.
Imagine being like, if I still had glass in my feet, I'd rather be in Philly right now than in this building. I was like, all right, guy. All right. But yeah.
I prefer neither. But...
So, is the timer up?
We got 3 minutes left.
Okay, I guess to finally summarize this movie, I'm not a big action movie fan. I think the movie is fine. It is very pro-cop. It's just not my type of movie. It has its funny moments. It has its exciting moments. And it's not bad. Just not a movie I'd go back to if I don't have to.
I think if I would watch this movie again, I think I would want to watch it with people. Like, I think this would be a fun movie to watch with a group of friends. Because, like, it is... I don't know. That's how I feel about most action movies. Like, most American action movies. Because it's not so much plot-focused as it is, like... and not all movies, but this one, I think this one, like, there's still some redeeming factors, but it's like, there's not really, like, okay, they're not hiding anything in the film. It's like, oh, okay, this thing is very much as is.
Yeah, I mean, the real gem of the movie isn't really the writing per se, but more so, like, the interesting the characters and the interesting situations that you're like, oh, what's he gonna do here? Oh, he's gonna take a fire hose and tie it to his waist. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't hold and he would die, but you know what, it's an action movie.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm looking at the goofs, seeing if there's anything fun. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, like fun scenes.
The other one that I was reminded of is when he kills the first guy he kills. He says that his comment, I think, is, "Of course I would kill a guy whose feet are as small as my sister's," because he wanted to steal his shoes, but he can't fit in his shoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's like a lot of things though that are just like up to luck.
Yes.
Like in this movie.
It doesn't feel like plot armor per se.
Yeah.
Not in the way that like Predator 2 was, where it's like, wait, the grenade didn't kill you, but it killed 50 cops?
Yeah. I thought another scene that I just remembered this that was interesting when Gruber's trying to find like he's down in the area and he's trying to find different things. I forget what he's trying to find. He sets his gun down and then McClane's down there as well, and he's just like, hey, what's up with you? And they like are talking, and like Gruber realizes who McClane is and McClane doesn't.
Oh, when he sees the picture with Holly on the desk?
Well, when he realizes that McClane's the one just running around and it's just him by himself, and like offers the cigarettes, and like and
Oh,
it's right before they shoot all the glass and hurt his feet.
yeah, where they do the whole
Cause
who are you? It's like, oh, I'm just a regular bystander. That
Yeah.
part where they're face to face.
yeah, that part, because I think because he doesn't realize it's Gruber, and
He doesn't realize it's McLean.
yeah, well, like he realizes it at one point because McLean says,
He introduces himself.
yeah, that's right. Because at that point he's like, he calls himself Roy, and then he keeps calling himself like other names, and that's when, whatever his face. Oh goodness, there was this. I was not expecting this timer to start playing sound in my ears.
Oh, you did it on your computer, not on your
Yeah,
phone.
because my phone is counting down my laundry. That made I was just sitting there, just like, yeah, and then no one's gonna hear it.
It's just in your own headset.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was also a neat scene where it's like they're face to face and one of them realizes who it is.
Before the other one, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like in Gruber, like it shows like, and Gruber's like, hey, let me just come over here, and McLean's like, no, dude, like let me escort you somewhere safe. And like the reason Gruber wants to go over there is because his gun is literally on the other side of this divider, like this whatever it is, and like and McLean says like, no, let's just go, like come on, I got you. And he's like, fine. And then I forget how they meet back up, but yeah, it overall enjoyable. It was an
fun
enjoyable
watch.
time. Yeah. I'm trying to see. Yeah, like,
All right. Do you want to break here and do the laundry bit?
yeah, I got like 3 minutes till my laundry should be done. So
then...
I don't know. Do we have anything else we want to talk about the movie? And then...
Well, I was going to say, do you want to put a time marker in so you know when to edit it? All right. So since we don't really have much else to really say about the movie, you ready to move on to giving it...
Talk about teas?
Christmas rankings? That wasn't a yes.
Guys, she's yelling at me.
I don't have the voice for this. No, my voice seems mostly stable. I think it was like a sinus infection, and now I'm thinking maybe it's like a baby ear infection because sometimes my ear hurts. So don't get sick, kids.
I think I was being poisoned.
Nice.
Yeah, I mentioned to you like how like my hands were having like some weird skin condition, and then I think I was putting this all together like when I was about to say when we weren't talking, and it makes it sound a whole lot worse than what it actually was. But I remembered like when it started getting really bad was right around the same time when they were doing the water pipes, and I remember seeing a video around that time of like, hey, debris can collect in your water pipes. And so I remember like, well, if that's the case, I don't want that going to my cooking stuff. So I opened up my bathroom faucet first, hoping that it would all just collect there and not be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So last Thursday, I got a pair of pliers from work, came home, and I took off the kitchen one. Nothing in there, clean. Went to the bathroom one. There was a collection of dirt in there, as well as this gray putty that when it touched my hands, it burned my skin. And
wow. That's
I'm like,
fun.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? And so like I cleaned it all out, and it was like, I don't know if it's a placebo effect, or placebo, how do you pronounce that? But my brain and hands were like, this is good water. It just feels good. And I'm like, I feels refreshed. But yes, let's go into the heart of dying. For people, if this is your first episode, because I don't think that you're ever listening to this, guess what? There's 4 others that we did this, where we score 5 different options between 1 to 3. We do this next year, which looks like we might, because I don't know. We've been talking like we have that we are, but tune in next year. But yeah,
I promise we'll have episodes in between.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. In a couple of minutes, you'll hear about what we're doing next. Yeah, so you can get 1 point, which means it isn't in there. 2 points, which sort of, and 3 points for yes. And so, yeah, and then we have, does it take place? And, we can just go through the questions. And
this is just for us, not necessarily a harsh ranking or rating or deep dive into the film itself, but just how Christmassy is this not so Christmas movie, to which, like D-Payne mentioned, we have watched previous movies. Before this, we watched, in order, Green Knight, Mean Girls, Batman Returns, and Gremlins.
Is it Batman Returns? Yeah, no, Batman Forever. Wait, no, Batman Forever.
I thought you fixed it on the drive.
I don't remember. It is Returns. It is Returns. It is Returns. I remember because I watched Batman Forever.
Yeah, I looked it up. It has the zombie Catwoman, so yes.
Yeah, don't worry, everybody. And I guess this is more for us. There's no way we... What the heck was that commercial? I just saw a commercial. Someone tried to open up one of those Phillips heads with a Allen wrench. I'm like, oh no, duh, that doesn't work. You dingbat. Anyway, I'm scrolling down, so I don't have to look at that stupidity anymore.
All right, but yeah, so
does it take place during the Christmas season?
Yes.
No, I'm joking. It does.
Because he's there purposely for the holidays. He even has like a Christmas gift. His wife keeps mentioning, there's a Christmas party, and his wife is like, the kids would love to have you at the house for the holidays.
Yes, and so there's tons of that. Isn't it Christmas Eve?
I don't remember if it's specifically Christmas Eve. I know she mentions what date it is because she's like, I didn't think you'd make it in time at one point, but I forget what she says.
I'm looking at the IMDb real quick to see. The 80s were a time of unrealistic action sequences, predictable characters, and rudimentary plots. Die Hard changed all that. Okay. Let's see. Goes on a Christmas vacation. Let's see. Well, tell me in the wiki. Die Hard. It's on Christmas Eve, yes.
Okay.
So, not that really matters, because it's the Green Knight takes place during Christmas. 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Christmas music.
Yes.
Yes, I will give this a 3 as well, because originally I was gonna say before it continued, because they're like I forget his name, the limo driver. He
puts on like Christmas rap music.
He puts on Christmas rap, and then it's just like, okay, I guess so. I'm not gonna judge too much, but it's just like, I guess so. And then I think the thing that I really like about this is that there's so many, I almost said NPCs, but there's just so many random people walking around just humming or whistling Christmas music.
Yeah.
And then, but then, the greatest, not the greatest, but the scene that is just funny, I think it made me laugh when I was watching this, when they finally get the vault open and it just plays joyful. And it's just like, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is great.
The next one is Christmas decorations, also a big yes. They have the Christmas tree. They have he wraps up the one body in Christmas tape. He holds his gun behind his back with Christmas tape.
Mm-hmm. And there's the Christmas party has a ton of Christmas stuff in it as well.
All over the place. Yeah.
Christmas moral. So I feel like there is the moral of McClane pretty much realizing how important his wife and him just throughout the movie, and he knows this in the beginning of the movie, it shows it, but I think it really throughout the course of the movie really hits closer to home when he's like, no, I'm an idiot, pretty much, because I keep arguing with you, and it's just all this stuff. I am proud of you for everything you're doing, and so I do think there's a more of him just trusting his wife and just everything going with that. The question is, I'm like, can that moral take away the Christmas theme of this movie.
I feel like there are a lot of Christmas movies where they emphasize the importance of family.
That is where I'm like, okay, I could see that as well. And it's like, so
I'm gonna give it a kind of.
Yeah, it's not like it's
not trying to necessarily like. I feel like a lot of traditional Christmas morals are like, how are you a better person year round and not just during Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one kind of is like that, but it's more focused on a personal level and not like they were brought together by the holiday, but they weren't like fixed by the holiday. They were fixed by the situation that just so happened to take place during the holiday.
And it's like there's also scenes in the beginning where I think I would consider this more of like the Christmas miracle moral stuff if it didn't at the beginning of it like show that like McClane's like, you're an idiot, come on. Like it shows like he regrets what he said. And it's like if there was no like regret or anything, it's just like it's not like a complete 180. He's already he's like already in the process, and it's just like this whole event just like really helps solidifies like
bringing them together.
And it's so I'll give it a maybe. It's like
that's fair because if it was one of those things where like they couldn't stand being around each other, but the kids were like, but mom and dad, it's Christmas, and then this brought them together, then it would be more of a Christmas magic thing when it seemed like they had no chance of getting back together, and then because of this stuff happening on Christmas, now they're gonna get back together. But no, both of them were like, oh, I still am like want you around, but I don't know if you want me around.
Yeah,
because she even does the whole thing with like, I have a spare room if you don't have a hotel.
Yeah, like that is the weird thing because like they don't go into it, but it makes it sound like they're separated. But it's still like
I think what I surmise from it is they got into a lot of fights because she wanted to move for her job and he didn't.
Yeah.
So then they were like, fine, we'll just live apart if we can't reconcile this.
And so and it looks like they were on the verge of it, and then like whatever, everything came back together. So yeah. And the last one, does a Santa appear? I'm going to give my score for this. Okay, I'm glad that we are agreed.
Because there's not even costumes or anything, right?
There's Santa decorations.
He has the one light up Santa that appears every so often, like a little plastic one.
And that's what I was telling one of the guys at work. So I'm like, no, there is no Santa. There's Santa decorations. Like, well, what about the guy who puts the Santa hat? And I'm like, no, he's not in full costume. He's not being Santa Claus. He's a dead dude in a Santa hat. And so like there is no Santa, it appears. Like Gremlins, we gave it a 2 because there's a guy dressed up as Santa pretending to be Santa that's getting attacked by gremlins. Yeah,
and then I think I would have given it a 2 if they had like a Santa at the Christmas party.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad like that was my so like the big thing I was just thinking about where I was like, okay, well, if this was anything above a 1, we would have to go into the conversation of is Santa decorations? Yeah, is like what are we counting as a Santa? Because like as I was thinking about this, I'm like, well, not that it really is going to change the Gremlin score, but the picture I sent you is a Santa decoration where I was like, oh, Santa's in there, but it's like the thing is there's other Santas throughout. Santas for the audio listeners parentheses
because you have the one guy getting attacked, and then you also have on TV there is a Santa like as the one guy's watching TV,
and then we have the memory of the Santa that could have been. Do you think when he got barbecued he smelled like peppermint?
I don't want to know.
Me neither.
But yeah, so that leaves Die Hard, the quintessential.
Tied.
Yeah, that's the quintessential. This is a Christmas movie argument I hear from people because they're like, it takes place during Christmas. It does have Christmas decorations. It does have Christmas music, but this is our scale, and we can do whatever we want with our scale. And if you don't agree with our scale, you can reach out to us at twitter.com/pointlessdisco, or leave a rating, review, comment on YouTube. find a way to yell at us, and then
Mm-hmm.
we will give you a shout out.
Smooth about that. I haven't. Here,
We haven't
while we're
checked
doing
things in
that,
a
I
while.
can check things. Yeah, life has been really busy. But oh goodness,
Yeah,
I will say, okay, everything just died. Thank
Okay.
you.
While you're trying to bring everything back, I will say our final scores. So that leaves Die Hard, Gremlins, and Batman Returns all tied for the number one spot of most Christmassy non-Christmas movie at a score of 24 out of 30. Within those three, how would you rank those, D-Payne, in your own personal level?
Um, Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh wow, hey audio listeners, you guys are just really like I didn't check this for a little while, but you guys are just rocking it. Welcome if you made it this far. I'm just checking real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything like reviews or hellos. Nope. Okay. So I would rank them.
As far as Christmassiness.
Yes. I think. Alright, so it's Gremlins, Batman, and Die Hard.
Yes.
Batman lowest. Mainly just due to the fact where there's like, oh, Christmas, and then just get away from Christmas as fast as possible.
And then go back to it.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas when it's convenient to have a lady to murder.
Mm-hmm. I also say like what we're planning on doing when or if we do this again of adding it to 5, if these would be a little bit more gaps if between them if with the 5-point system. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about now. I watching these movies, Gremlins feels more like a Christmas movie than Die Hard to me.
I was gonna say to me, Gremlins. I think because for the sole fact that the Gremlin is, or well, the Mogwai is a Christmas present. So Christmas is always kind of a crux of it. Like it's always important that it's Christmas because they only came into their lives because his dad got it for Christmas. Whereas Die Hard, it's like, oh, it takes place during Christmas and they're there for Christmas. Whereas
it's also there's snow.
Yes.
Like I know we're close enough where like I remember in the 90s when like we would get pummeled with snow and like not so much now. So I think I remember more Christmases without snow than with.
Yeah, I remember I used to like make snowmen every Christmas. Like I have a core memory of me and my friends playing in the snow. But I had one of those sweatpants from the 90s where they had buttons on the side, so like you would typically wear them for like before gym class. So if you needed to change into shorts, you didn't have to like do a whole thing. But I was wearing one of those, and I think my like tighter sweatpants that would usually go underneath weren't clean yet, so I was just like, oh, I'll just put on the other ones because it's fine. And then my friend tackled me in the snow, and I got like ice burns down my leg because the sweatpants opened up.
No.
No.
I just have to tell you real quick. You were glowing. You were glowing. Whatever you're doing is working.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'd agree. I'd say Gremlins feels very Christmassy to me in just the way that the plot and the timeline is structured. Then it's Die Hard, because Die Hard does all take place in the same day, which is Christmas Eve. But Christmas isn't really... Christmas is the reason why they're all together in the same place, but it's not really a key plot point. It's getting worse. I moved it.
It's fine. Yeah,
Batman is only Christmas because it's the anniversary of Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the only reason why they bring up Christmas.
Yeah. I think the big thing when I come down to these 3 movies is something that we didn't really talk about, and I can't remember if this was somebody that mentioned it from PAX Unplugged, or I don't remember who told me this, but I agree with what they were saying, where it's like what makes a Christmas movie to them all comes down to one thing, and is Christmas the backdrop, or is it the main, like, is it actually part of the plot and the reason? Mm-hmm. And it's like with Die Hard, Batman Forever,
Returns.
Returns. Even The Green Knight, it's just a backdrop. Mean Girls, it's a
it
act.
is a plot point, but it is
a plot
part
point
of the small plot.
Mm-hmm. And so they do that, while Gremlins, like,
it can't happen if it's not
can't
Christmas.
have it. Yeah, you can't like, it could be your birthday, probably, but like it. Sorry, I just remembered of this video I saw where the chorus is like, pretty much they kill Santa Claus or something. The chorus is like, "Yep, that's right. No more presents till your birthday, so keep crying," or something. But anyway, yeah, it's overall, it's just you can't have Gremlins without Christmas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think out of the list, the other thing is, it doesn't help that the main actor says that Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
So then that
the comment section of that video was hilarious.
But then that leaves Mean Girls next, because they did focus on the holiday in the small part of the act. Like, it technically checked the boxes. Mm-hmm. And then Green Knight is the least Christmassy.
I will say, the least Christmassy one is the one I'm like, you know what? Out of this list, I'm like, I think I would watch it again.
Very A24 fan of you.
Yes, but I also feel like out of all of these, there's more to explore in that movie. That one watch, like, just didn't sink in, while everything else is just like, is
very
what it is.
Yeah. No, I get that. Personally, I didn't dislike the Green Knight, but it didn't resonate with me. It felt like a really expensive, cool art project.
That's all A24 movies are.
No, but like Lighthouse has a lot of really strong characters, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I know the Green Knight is based on a poem, so it's harder to really flesh out the characters in the same way. But it's just, they really filled in the 2-hour gap with longing glances. And after a while, for me, I was just like, someone could say something. They could make up dialogue for them at some point to really help push this along, but instead you just have the main character just stare angrily at women a lot, and I'm like, I get it.
He misses his old house.
I get it.
The biggest Christmas tradition.
Jesus is born.
Oh man, yeah. It's one of, like, I also know that I'm being a little bit biased because it is one of my favorite King Arthur poems, but
maybe it would help if I had read it before watching it. But that is a weird crux to put on it, because I know you haven't watched Dune yet, but I felt like Dune is really fun to watch if you've read the book. Because Strider was like, I haven't had a chance to read the book before Dune came out, and when we watched it, so he had to like ask me, he's like, who are these people? Because they're kind of just throwing people at me. I was like, well, in the book he spends 20 pages explaining that this is actually his right hand man, like those kind of like little things that get lost. But that one has the opposite problem, where Dune has too many pages for a 3-hour movie.
So in the end, I don't know. I don't think if reading The Green Knight would actually help.
Did they take a lot of liberties with it?
Yeah, because the pretty much, I think it's the second scene. The first two sections aren't in the movie, or in the poem, I believe.
Oh, with him establishing who he is as a character.
Yeah, like him getting the axe stolen,
his mom.
And diving into the lake. I don't believe those are part of
his trials.
Yeah, well, like, there really isn't trials. It's pretty much like, come back, and we're going to face each other. And
the movie made me feel like they were structured to be trials to test him as a knight.
Oh, in the movie, yes, they're trials. In the book, it's very much like, come out here. And I do think he gets like lost or something. There is something that happens before then, and like that final part is in the poem, and like he does spend time there. The fox is mentioned, like that's where the fox comes from.
Oh, but when you said final part, I was like, the whole dream sequence?
No,
that's a lot to fit in a
sorry.
poem.
Yeah, no, it is a longer poem, but it's because like
the back and forth, you mean, of him agreeing and then backing out and then ultimately.
That's actually like he does like flinch at first, but and then he's like, nah, do it, do the thing. And then like that's, I think he doesn't take off the sash, and the sash actually stops like the mortal blow, and the Green Knight's like, dude, what the heck? But I can't blame you because I'm immortal.
We played the game.
Yeah, so but there's that, and then but anyway, like the thing is like, and we mentioned this in the Green Knight, so we don't have to really go over it again, but they did rewrite Gawain's character where everyone's closer to the same age in the poem, and Gawain's problem isn't the fact that he just like loves going to the whorehouse. It's that he follows the codes too closely, and he's not willing to flinch or step away from those codes. And so instead of him pretty much, well, doing what he does in the house, his failure is that he actually kisses her. And they're like, well, I guess you're not as good as a knight as you thought you were. And he's just like, there, I'm leaving. and so
stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
But before, like you said, we did discuss a lot more of this in the actual Green Knight episode, so feel free to give that a listen if you're curious. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you're probably, now that we've kind of wrapped up the whole Christmas thing, I feel like you're excited to announce what we have coming up next.
I think we're both excited, but it's just fun I like announcing things. I like sharing what we're doing. This is why I have a hard time not sharing secret projects. Yeah. So starting next week, well, actually, yeah, we got to record next week. We are doing the whole series of Gravity Falls. Cue the theme music we can't play. But yes, we're going to be going through that.
Expect it in the format of wow, my voice.
Yeah, expecting the format of Hop's voice and my voice as well.
Over the garden wall, where we'll be watching the episodes and paying attention to things, because we've both watched it at least once.
I watched it once. Hop watched it almost like 20 times.
I don't know if it's 20, but that's like...
It's close.
I have a list of comfort shows, and Gravity Falls is one of those, because like if I'm sick or really out of it, then it's like I can turn it on, and it's nice.
Yeah. This is the show that Hulu lied to me about.
We're getting rid of it. JK. We're getting rid of it again.
JK. Yeah. I can't wait until we're like in the last episodes, and then it's like, we're getting rid of it, and we're like, yeah, okay, and then they actually do. That's what's gonna happen.
But yes, so that is, I think 40 episodes, so 40 weeks.
40 episodes. It's pretty much all 2023, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, the way that show ends really lines up with what comes after.
The holiday. Our big holiday.
Yeah, our favorite holiday, which now we have to cut back on because of Gravity Falls. No. But yeah, I guess just if you guys did listen to the Over the Garden Wall, or if you're going to go listen to that to catch the vibe, it will be like that, but instead of doing 2 episodes, we're only doing 1. So, yeah. Now I want to watch Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah, you kind of missed the season on that. I rewatched it for Halloween.
I wanted to watch it, but I am terrible at... I'm surprised I watched a movie yesterday.
September is a really good time of year for Over the Garden Wall, because it's not specifically Halloween till the end of it, so if you like take your time...
There is no taking my time. I still need to watch the last season of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh yeah, I think I'm caught up.
Yeah, I know I'm not. I still have to watch season 4. That's what I've been wanting to watch a show. There we go. I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, and that one's nice. It's bite sized. It's like 24 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of modern TV, that's like I just finished watching Wednesday, and I was like, do I want to watch Wednesday? And Strider's like, it's 45 minutes long. I'm like, okay, not now. Later.
I watched the one scene multiple times because it's all over the internet.
The dance.
Yeah.
No, I did enjoy Wednesday, but you also have to look at the writing from the perspective that it is like for teenagers, right? So when it comes to the characters' focuses and stuff like that, you're like, and the way that it to me, it kind of feels like a Nancy Drew-esque kind of writing style, where Wednesday is presented with a mystery, and only Wednesday is going to be the one that solves it, right? When as adults, we're like, wow, every adult is incompetent. Wait, this is for teenagers. They are going to be incompetent.
Yeah. And then I know, like, I the only other scene I saw was her interaction with her dad, which I don't know if it's at the end. And it's like, I don't know where you're at, and I don't know where it takes place.
I already finished it. It's 8 episodes.
Okay. And for anyone's like, Dpayne, when are you going to watch it? Because I'm not paying for Netflix. But, nah, like, from what I saw, like, it looked pretty neat.
It's fun.
But, yeah. So, yeah. Gravity Falls, and, yeah. I hope you all have the final year of 2022 go well.
Yeah, your final days of it. It sounds so, like...
Prepare
lethal.
to die. Your final days ever.
See you all next year.
Yeah, later, nerds.
Or this is the last time we'll talk. This year.
Well, that's not
me
true.
And you. Well, the audience. Can I not talk to the audience?
No, we talked for them for the last hour.
2 hour.
2 hour? 2 hour. That's right. First t-shirt. 2 hour? Oh, man.
I'm going to start doing this until you say the thing.
Okay. You know what's going to be really weird when we go back to, like, almost 2 hour episodes. I like these hour episodes. I want to see how long it can make you wait. Just joking. Bye-bye!